Welcome, everyone. It's Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It's January 4th, 2020. The show, as always, is presented by the Marijuana Times. Find us at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there to find the show. A lot of great articles, a lot of great writers. Find out everything you need to know about the cannabis community, industry, and beyond. marijuanatimes.org. Today, we're going to talk about some YouTube comments, which I normally don't do, but this is a special case. We'll also talk about the rise of cannabis content. Talk about medical marijuana use and marijuana use in Illinois, and gun ownership, and Texas marijuana prosecutions since hemp has been legalized, or apparently going down. That's real shame. Those things happen. But we'll talk about all that coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis News. It's brought to you by NatureSide, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Grow safe and poison-free with NatureSide. Be regulatory compliant in the state that you are growing in. NatureSide. They're awesome. Proud sponsor of the show. Go check them out. Nature-side.com. Before we get to the stories, I peruse the YouTube comments all the time on the Marijuana Times YouTube channel, where most of the views and listens and interaction with the show happens. And most of the time, it's just praise of me. I normally don't talk about it because I'm not going to sit here and, as much as I would like to, just read comments to tell me how awesome I am and what a great job I'm doing. It seems kind of conceited, at the very least. That's not the way I want to come across. But sometimes there's some people, and it kind of happens more and more as we get more and more viewers and reach more parts of the internet. Some people they take issue with some of the things I say. And I use it as an opportunity to kind of rebut and talk about things and use it as a teachable moment or whatever. Listen, I understand the nature of the internet. I understand the nature of what space and anonymity does to people and what they say and how they say it to people. And normally it's not a big deal, but this is an area where I can use this to not only make a point yet again, but make several other subservient points, I guess, sub points. In any case, I don't know how well you can see this. I did a screenshot of this. It's not the best. I think if you have a big computer screen, you can see a lot better than you maybe on your phone. But I'm going to read it anyway for the audio version listeners. In any case, just a couple weeks ago, show number 556, and apparently I talked about some things that rubbed some people the wrong way. It started with Bernie, the Bernie Bro on YouTube. He said, "You seem to be contagious to empathy for the middle and working class, Joe." Now, I didn't make fun of the fact he used the wrong word there. He probably wanted to use the word immune to empathy, but whatever. Middle and working class can't afford the high annual licensing, application, etc. fees that accompany a cannabis business. You create access by lowering the barrier to entry. Funny how politicians in Cali are going to trial for cannabis corruption, but the court media says the real problem are those pesky middle and working class citizens who patronize these ungrateful corporations. These solutions are obvious, Joe. A little extra condescension thrown in there in the end. And I replied, quote, "I've said barriers to entry need to be lower across the board several times in print and on the show, lower fees, regulations, and taxes," which I have. I've literally used the phrase lower barriers to entry at least a dozen times on this show. And I've talked about this so much that sometimes I feel like I'm talking about it too much. Lower taxes, lower regulations, lower fees, lower everything. Lower barriers. As many people getting into the cannabis industry that want to as possible. That'll bring prices down. That'll increase supply. It'll increase variety, competition, quality, innovation. All of these things I've said over and over and over again. And it's fine if you haven't watched every episode. You don't have to watch every episode. I've said a lot of stuff. I've done over 560 of these shows alone, in addition to all the other stuff I do. But then someone else has to put in their 2 cents. And this guy he's made other comments. He really's not a fan of mine. He claims to watch every show, but he doesn't by some of the stupid things he says. He starts with, "I've watched every show, Joe, and you're a liar. You only bitch about gov regulation, and when I ask several times about the $300 announced price of legal weed, you say nothing. Utter liar and total sellout." And this guy's name is John Doe, Jondhoe. Feel free to make fun of me in the comments. I don't care. It'll be entertaining. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. He has a J for his picture, and his name is literally a misspelled version of John Doe. That's what I'm talking about with space and anonymity. This guy would never call me a total sellout and liar to my face, obviously, because I would punch him. And I've been punched before. It's not pleasant. So he says to the internet, fine. But here's the problem. He's wrong. He's wrong about his premise. Whatever the stupid name calling or whatever, he's wrong about his premise. I talk about it all the time. All the time. Lower regulations, lower taxes, lower fees. Lower everything. Lower barriers to entry. I say it over and over and over again. He also said, it's true. He never says it on any show, and I've watched most of the shows. He seems to think for $300 an ounce is totally affordable. Where have I ever said that? 560 shows plus available on the internet. Find one time where I said $300 an ounce is affordable, or anything even approaching that. I can find 15 or 20 instances where I've said we need lower barriers to entry. Dummy. Find me one time where I said it was affordable. You're stupid. It's a stupid comment by a stupid person, probably in a stupid basement somewhere. Maybe in a house owned by his mother. I don't know. If I bet on that, I would probably win some money. He says, just another ideologue, which I guarantee he has no idea what that word means, who, despite the help of cannabis, still can't think. Of course, the ad hominem attack of, at the end, like what the guy had the condescension at the end, which shows you these people they have to attack you in the end in some way. They really can't back up what they're saying, and they know that. Somewhere deep down they know that this is kind of BS. So I'm going to throw in this zinger at the end to show my cleverness. I responded just before I started the show. I said, I say it all the time to John Doe, Jondhoe. You've clearly not watched even the most of the shows, which makes me care even less about your abject stupidity. Again, it's fine if you don't watch all the shows, but don't claim that you have and then tell me what I've said and what I haven't said. I was here. I know what I talk about. You don't, apparently. And if you're not going to bother to watch the shows, you're just going to make stupid comments, and I don't care what you think. Generally, I don't care what most people think in any case. I have a very low threshold for caring what people think about various things. I just can't muster up even to fake it, to be like, oh, that's so interesting what you think. Your opinion on that subject is so interesting to me. I can't even do that. And I'm not... Why do I care? Other than the fact that I can point some things out and make a point that I've made many, many times before, yet again. There needs to be lower barriers to entry for cannabis businesses. We'll solve a lot of problems. I literally said this just the other day. It would solve most problems in the cannabis industry would be solved by allowing more people to get into the business. A lot of those people go out of business. Yes, that's business. But they should have the opportunity, because you never know who's going to be good at it and who's not. And the good people will rise to the top, and the ones who are not good at it and suck at it and can't run a cannabis business, well, they'll fail and go do something else. That's the way business works. If that seems mean or harsh to you, well, life's got some curveballs for you, I'll tell you. If you think my words are harsh, wait till you meet a little thing called life and how hard that is. Now, to the stories. I've already taken up almost a whole show, just that, but that's fine. Because I comment on things, and I comment on things on the internet, and mostly I don't comment on YouTube comments, but today I did. There you go. It's first story by yours truly, at marijuanatimes.org. The rise of cannabis content. Basically, there was this report that showed that big streaming services there was over 1 million households streamed cannabis content, almost a 43% increase over the amount of people that streamed cannabis-related content on streaming services last year. This is leading services like Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and HBO to push for even more cannabis content, cannabis-related shows. There's also something that's going to launch pretty soon. You may have seen the THC channel if you have Pluto TV or the Pluto TV app on whatever service you use. And there's a THC channel, and that's going to be the basis for something called Social Club TV. People called Ronin, group called Ronin is backing this. It's going to be a streaming service available on things like Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Prime, Android TV, and iOS. You'll be able to stream a streaming service that is just has cannabis content. Social Club TV. Be on the lookout for it on your streaming services. I'll try to check it out, do a review, whatever, as I'm known to do. This next story from Reason.com. Although cannabis consumers who own firearms are federal felons, Illinois says they can keep their guns. This is a story we've talked about quite a bit on this show, the loss of Second Amendment rights for medical marijuana patients around the country. This is from Reason, as I said. Cannabis consumers in Illinois, where state-licensed marijuana dispensaries started serving recreational customers yesterday, when this was written, actually, obviously, will pay more in taxes than cannabis consumers in most other states that have legalized pot, but at least they do not have to worry about the state police will be coming for their guns thanks to protections included in the 2019 law that allows adults 21 or older to purchase and use marijuana. Federal law prohibits gun possession by any unlawful user of a controlled substance. If you buy a firearm from a federally licensed dealer, you will fill out a form that asks, quote, are you an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana or any depressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or any other controlled substance? The question includes a warning that, quote, the use or possession of marijuana remains unlawful under federal law regardless of whether it has been legalized or decriminalized for medical or recreational purposes in the state where you reside. Illinois prohibits anyone who's used an illegal drug during the past year from obtaining a firearm owner's identification card, which is required to legally own a gun in Illinois. But the Illinois Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act, which the state legislature passed last year, says, quote, a person shall not be considered an unlawful user solely as a result of his or her possession or use of cannabis or cannabis paraphernalia in accordance with this act. The Illinois State Police, which oversees the FOID program, also confirmed in a Facebook post that notwithstanding news reports to the contrary, it will not revoke cards, quote, based solely on a person's legal use of adult cannabis. Now, you're still liable and under the jurisdiction of federal law, but at least in Illinois, you're not going to be punished for being a legal marijuana user when it comes to being able to possess a gun or to buy a gun. So that is some good news. As I said, the Second Amendment issue is one that's been huge, especially for medical marijuana patients in various states. So we start moving toward a place where these two things can coexist. People can purchase marijuana legally and legally own a firearm and do two legal things at once, which shouldn't be a big deal, but apparently it is. We can move to a place where that happens more and more often around the country. This next story, this last story from TexasTribune.org. Marijuana prosecutions in Texas have dropped by more than half since lawmakers legalized hemp. We talked about this issue a lot as well. One of the big states that started in was Texas, where prosecutors stopped prosecuting marijuana cases because of the expense and the inability to test between cannabis, illegal cannabis, and legal hemp. So it's caused a lot of prosecutors to drop cases. The number of low-level pot cases filed by prosecutors has plummeted. Apparently, they're going to have more methods to be able to distinguish between hemp and THC technologically coming down the pipe. The Texas Department of Public Safety and local government crime labs expect to roll out a long-awaited testing method to distinguish between the two in the next month or so, but that's only going to be for seized plant material. There's a chart down here somewhere. Here we go. 2018, Texas prosecutors filed about 5,900 new misdemeanor marijuana possession cases a month, according to the data from the Texas Office of Court Administration. The first 5 months of 2019 saw an average of more than 5,600 new cases filed each month. But since June, when the hemp law was enacted, the number of cases has been slashed by more than half. In November, less than 2,000 new cases were filed, according to court data. It's just, it's a shame. It means there are fewer Texans that are getting slapped with a criminal record for marijuana possession, something that is already legal in other states, said Catherine Harris, a drug policy fellow at Rice University's Baker Institute for Public Policy. So good news. And I know the people, law enforcement prosecutors, they just lament this can't prosecute as many marijuana users, and that's a real shame. But you just have to go, I don't know, find violent criminals, work on those cases and getting all those cases wrapped up. Just a suggestion. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not qualified or trained in any way. I'm just saying that if you have extra time because you're not busting marijuana users, maybe some violent crime solving would be the order of the day. Again, just my 2 cents. Just a video podcast dude. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the show. Today is a makeup show. We did 5 shows this week. We do 5 shows every week of cannabis news. Check us out on marijuanatimes.org. You can find us on YouTube as well. Search the Marijuana Times. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thanks to all of you who watch and listen today. And spread the truth about cannabis with this show. Please continue to do so. We'll see you next time, right here on Cannabis News.